Hi, everybody. I'm Sasha Segan from PCMag.com with one cool thing, and that is Will Greenwald showing us Amazon's Echo Show 10. Will, what have you got down there?
This is the Amazon Echo Show 10. It is the newest smart display from Amazon. So Alexa has a 10-inch screen, etc., and we're going to be talking about it.
Now, it looks like it has a really big speaker connected to a really big screen. Now, for people who aren't familiar with the most recent iterations of the Echo Show line, that looks like a much more powerful speaker than we used to see in Echo Show models. Can it really fill a room?
I'm still doing testing on it, but it actually is very similar in specs to the regular Amazon Echo, the smart speaker. So there is a 3-inch woofer and two 1-inch tweeters, and that should be enough to fill a room. But whether it like really fills a room, I mean, this isn't the same thing as like the Echo Studio, which is a speaker only and costs about as much, if not more, than this.
Okay, so it looks a little more like the Echo Studio, but it doesn't quite have the audio power of the Echo Studio.
Not quite, but it does
Oh,
have a 10-inch screen, which is sort of part of the point of it.
okay, so yeah, let's talk about that screen. So the Echo Show originally was a one-piece unit with a screen with the speakers below the screen, and then they went to this sort of two-piece design. What does having the screen separate from the speaker let it do this time?
Well, it's not simply that the screen is separate from the speaker, it is actually that the base is separate from the speaker and screen itself. So it is a motorized base with a brushless motor, so I can show you it can turn. I can't really show how it works right now because it needs to be on a flat surface and plugged in, but the motorized base, combined with the camera and the microphones, it will actually follow you around the room. So it will turn to pivot to basically face you whenever you're walking around a room.
So is Alexa is essentially hearing your voice directionally and then pointing towards you?
Partly directionally, partly it uses the camera to detect motion and then determines what like the person-shaped thing that's talking to it is and then follows that shape.
Now, aside from being either friendly or creepy, depending on how you feel about that feature, Amazon also wants to use that for a sort of home security system, right?
Yes, there is Amazon Guard Plus or Alexa Guard. There's a subscription service that they are offering that lets the camera or it will eventually use the camera, but concurrently uses audio cues. Like if a smoke alarm goes off or if glass breaks, you can have it give you an alert if that happens. But the camera is going to be used to detect motion and occupancy of the room, so it can send you an alert, say if someone's there when no one's supposed to be there, and it can pan across the room back and forth to basically see if someone's there and it's out of place.
Now, in terms of what it's mostly going to be used for throughout the day, I mean, most people use this kind of device for audio or video streaming. Are there any major streamers that are still missing from Amazon's platform, or does this have pretty much all of the audio and video services that you might want?
Video, it is pretty limited. It can do Netflix, it can do Hulu, it can do Amazon Prime Video, of course, but like you aren't getting a whole app selection like you'll get on a conventional media streamer. There's still a smart display. It's not purely for video consumption. It's more like a secondary thing. So the things you can watch video on are kind of limited. You can get things like Food Network for instructions or news reports from NPR, and that'll be video too.
Of
But
course,
like you
the
aren't going to
big
get Twitch on
question,
it.
yeah, the big question that people wonder about with Amazon is, can you get YouTube?
Not that I've seen.
That's sort of at the heart of that perpetual Amazon Google debate, whether or
Yep.
not you can get YouTube on various Alexa devices. I've seen people go for it through the web browser. Does this have a web browser?
I haven't found one yet. They're trying to keep everything a lot more streamlined and mostly voice controlled. The touch controls are there for things like smart home, but I haven't dug into the voice into the if there's a web browser just yet. I'm still doing kind of preliminary mechanical testing of it and seeing how it tracks movement.
Now, for people who are more in the Amazon Echo ecosystem, what's the difference between this third generation product and the similar looking second generation one?
The base completely, like it's the fact that it turns and can follow you around the room. And testing that, like honestly, that is a really handy feature of I live in an apartment, so my kitchen's against a wall. Then I have like the living room, then bedroom, bathroom is going off to the sides. So I can sort of walk in, beat the fridge, say, Alexa, blah, 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 and it'll turn to face me. Then if I walk around to the couch, it'll keep walking and follow me around. And that happens with, as Alexa's answering things, as it is playing content, as it's doing video calls, which it can do with Amazon's drop-in or Skype, and it can make phone calls too. No Google voice, no Google video stuff I've seen yet, but there's still, it has Skype and phone calls.
Okay.
But the point is that it follows you around.
Okay, so now, of course, people are going to be thinking about this, and they may be worried about privacy. What do you have here available in terms of privacy controls, in terms of if you don't want the speaker watching or listening to you at any given time?
There is both a button that turns off the mic and the camera, and there's a physical privacy button that puts a shutter over it. You can also disable all motion tracking, and while the usual stuff like Alexa voice requests still goes through Amazon's cloud processing, the motion detecting and what the camera is doing as it is following you around the room, that's all on board, so it is not part of the data that's being sent to Amazon servers.
So now, how does this compare to the sorts of smart displays which are available in Google's voice-activated ecosystem? This seems like it may have put Amazon a step above what Google has there right now.
I was skeptical because it is kind of expensive compared to the smaller smart displays like the Echo Show 5, Echo Show 8. Like the Echo Show 8 is a little smaller, but half the price. But having a motorized base that can just let the screen follow you around the room, that is a really big benefit that I wasn't necessarily expecting to be as intuitive and useful as it is. Like it follows you around, so you don't need to be in just this single sweet spot looking at the screen, which you have to with stationary screen smart displays.
Given that we've all been locked inside or locked mostly inside for about a year now, does the whole motorized following you around thing make you feel like it's a little bit more of a friend? Is there a little bit more of a social aspect once Alexa is watching you?
I mean, maybe I tend not to, personify my devices a whole lot, but it's nice to have them follow around. And when you're doing video calls, it follows you. So that just is sort of a more flexible conversational way to talk instead of, again, being in that sweet spot in front of the screen that most smart displays require. And yeah, it'd be nice, like if I could get up and my webcam could follow me around mechanically. There's an issue though.
Mm-hmm.
It's only horizontal turning. You need to physically move the screen up and down. So it doesn't track you if you're going from a seated to standing position.
Okay, so now this is what, $250?
Yep.
Okay, and is that at the high end of smart displays right now?
That's pretty much the high end. Our current editor's choice, I believe, is the Echo Show 8, which is just an 8-inch screen, not quite as powerful speakers, but it's like $130.
Okay. And now with all of these devices, of course, the big question is if people are already in the Amazon ecosystem, that is a relatively easy call. But if you maybe are partially in the Google ecosystem or partially in the Apple ecosystem, is this the kind of device that could cause you to change your whole smart home ecosystem?
I mean, the following you around is handy, but I can't really necessarily say that anything in this category would really be enough to make you jump ecosystems. Like they're all, honestly, smart displays are things that are useful, but as a category, they're not really something that's going to make you jump from Apple to Google to Amazon, or at least the way I see them as like necessity versus a nice thing to have. It just doesn't quite have that flash, but if you are already into Amazon or if you haven't committed yet, having the following feature it's nice to have.
Okay, great. And now, do we have a rating on this yet, or are you still working on the review?
Still doing testing, but it should be up hopefully soon.
Okay, great. So that was the Amazon Echo Show 10 third generation, just coming out now, $250. And it is a smart display that follows you around. You should follow PCMag.com to see our final review and rating. Thank you all for watching, and please like and subscribe.